Genie grind and watch him get rich, huh? Remember when I said I hit a lick, huh? I don't really wanna fuck the bitch, what? Willie went and made another hit, okay, like Prada on my motherfucking kid, huh? Louis on my motherfucking hip, huh? Curry how I dunk, no switch, hey, fucking gonna fuck that bitch, hey, if you ain't gon' fuck with me, you a dumb fuck, put up a hit but feel like one punch, look at my bank and I'm getting dumb rich, and I'm gonna count it up till 100,
Hello world, I'm Let It Study, and today we are doing one that I'm actually quite proud of. I hope that you guys love it as much as I do, and let's get into what if Deku was the older brother of Kirishima. Let's begin. We begin on a certain gloomy day, one of rain. Kirishima attends his normal class, holding Ashido's hand as she helped him across the parkway when he was scared of going across. She said, "You know, your brother's going to punch you if you keep on using me to get past." He says, I know that. But you know, he's just looking out for the best for you. I know. But once you get strong enough, you know what? I bet you could beat his ass. As she, goes into a punching motion, fake punching him on the shoulder. As he recoils back, holding his shoulder, as he's like, maybe you're right. But not now. Not ever, actually. Oh, come on. Don't be such a scaredy cat. For me. For you? I would save you 1,000,000 times, Oshido. I can guarantee you that. Now, watch out, I might hold you to that. As then they go on the rest of their day, going through their different folds as middle school unfolds in front of them. Many days passed, as he has barely seen his older brother, ever. Until it's going fine. Too good, actually. The rain finally starts, after the clouds had been roaming over for so long. Villains. They had entered the whole building, the whole of the school, taken several kids hostage, and were hiding out inside of the school. Ashido, unafraid of this, starts making her way outside the doors, as the bullied and beaten Kirishima just watches, as this time, no, his brother will just think lesser of him if he just lets this happen. As he gets up and dashes outside the door with Ashido and grabs onto her hand. She looks back just for a second, but that was just enough for her to get cracked over the head with a crowbar, before she could save herself, as his own weakness is prevalent now. He falls down to his knees, staring at Ashido, trying to wake her up. But then he looks up, almost in dread, as the man readies his crowbar once more. This cloaked visitor from another world to him. How could he be so blind? He had so much power. How could he just waste it? He can't do this anymore. He has to fight back, however, those thoughts are but time wasted. As the bar comes down to his face, until an arm comes over him, right in front of his face, bending in the bone of the man that had stood in front of him. No, boy, actually. As his older brother says, "You dipshit, didn't I tell you?" Oh, God, that hurt. Ugh. Well, first, before you're talking to, as he readies up the arm that just blocked the blade, and gut punches the invader into his stomach, sending the man flying up in the air for 2 feet up in the air, until he falls down to the ground once more. A kid did that? As it zooms back to see what you would imagine. Basically, he's a combination of Inosuke and Kirishima. Didn't I tell you? You gotta stand up for yourself, kid. God damn it, my arm. As then he he puts down his hand to pick up Kirishima, and Kirishima takes it, wobbling over, and until he just slaps his hand. He's like, "God damn it, get up yourself. Come on. Get Ashido out of here. I don't want anybody else but bloodied by anybody else's hands. These assholes!" As he explodes with his rage and dashes into the room with the hostages. As Kirishima is almost dreadfully curious. What could his brother's power really be? He wasn't born with a quirk, you understand. His quirk was useless. As he charges into the room, bashing down heads, using one of the little desks as meat shield to run at a man and then plow him into the desk board, and then uses one of the pencils to stab into his eye. As he doesn't smile. No. It's a look of pure rage. After all, you transgressed onto my grounds. My people are being hurt because of you. Don't you know what it's like to be a man? As then he picks up one of the villain's faces and puts it to his as he says, "Do you feel any sorrow for what you've done?" I don't understand adults anyways. Why do I even ask? As he punches the guy and knocks him out immediately, as he flops onto the ground and glides across it for a few inches, until one guy comes out of the corridor as Kirishima is too engrossed in the combat to react to this. As he says, "Brother, get out of the way!" As then a gunshot is heard. The shot goes straight towards Deku, and grazes across his cheek, lodging itself into his cheekbone. As then he spits up just a little bit of blood. For after all, his cheek was currently blown off. Kirishima charges the man and then plunges his head into the man's stomach, throwing him across the room. As the man starts battering him with the pistol, however, Kirishima hardens his skin harder than he has ever done before. As then, his brother, Deku, charges and he says, "Thanks for the lift!" As then he jumps off of Kirishima's back and then kicks straight in. He knees right in. He drags the guy's head into the knee, a flying knee, by the way, and knocks the guy absolutely out. However, this splits the guy's skull. Kirishima flops to the ground, exhausted and almost terrified, and until a hand comes down. "Congratulations. You earned my respect." As Kirishima, actually takes this hand, truly takes this hand. As they both stand up together to view the rest of the classroom, as it starts to resolve itself. However, they had killed multiple of these guys. Someone needed to pay for it. After all, in the court of law, they were sort of the aggressors in this situation. They should have waited for police backup. Why did they charge in? They're not heroes. They're not anything. They're just children. Like 12-year-old children, nonetheless. Why would you kill them? Like, you could have just peacefully waited for the heroes to come. Them both not knowing the court of law and unable to take trials for themselves. After all, their father, the devil, as Deku would describe him most of the time, he was basically, he believed in manliness in the wrong way. He saw manliness as a tool to control his children. A tool to make his children the strongest. After all, he had wanted them to be the strongest, however, both of them being born with sub-low quirks. After all, how Deku had even survived was because of his low-class quirk, which was body manipulation. Basically, he had moved his cheek muscles out of the way of the bullet. After it had lodged itself into him, it just fell right out. He kind of like replaced his bone with a different bone, which will get fixed in a later episode. However, he will have a permanently dysfunctional left face for just now. Someone needs to pay for it, however. His father also believes that they have to fight for themselves no matter what it was. He's sort of an old-timey man. Doesn't believe in lawyers or anything like that. So, Deku took all of the blame for it, however. Kirishima, watching his brother go off in cuffs, saying the system fail his family. His father took no pride in his son no more. After all, what is a son in jail? A raisin in the sun, left there to dry. A dream long lost. A person given up by society for defending himself. This more than angers Deku. His rage builds up over time. Locked in his jail cell, the rest of the villains almost feared this kid. After all, he was tried as an adult for murder. After all, it's not considered manslaughter if you directly ran after them and specifically helped. Kirishima, feeling regret for his brother's defeat, he dedicates his life to finally getting his brother out. And that would include becoming one of the top heroes. Top heroes are allowed to visit people in jail cells, even if they are considered villains. Villains are not allowed to be visited because of their schemes. Well, usually they'll have people come in and blow it up, Joker style. But, you know, or Lex Luthor, as you would know if you watched Justice League. But basically, yeah, Deku just is sent off to jail. He spent most of his time inside of the jail until there's a cell break, one where many of the villains get out, and All Might is sent after the scene. As suddenly the courtyard had been burst open by one of the villains' quirks that had been unleashed. He just starts defeating guard after guard using his explosion quirk, which just comes off from his body. He's not able to angle it, so he just blows himself up, which is a suicide bomber, I would say. Kills many of the guards and also blows up the wall. It's a mad dash for the wall as all the prison starts just running straight for the wall. As all of their quirk stoppers unlock themselves as they get outside the walls, many of them are hunted down by the guards. However, some of them make it out alive, and those set up a new camp inside of the forest until... You ready for justice? As then he sees one of the strongest hero that is known, All Might. As Deku already knows, they're fucked. Everybody knows they're fucked. But they have to make up some sort of, resistance. As some of the villains start shooting blasts, and one sneaks up behind him and tries to shank him with a knife. However, the knife literally bends around his skin, bends back to stab the guy in his hand as he falls over, just like, what the fuck just happened to my hand? As then All Might just starts destroying the camp, and with one solitary punch, just makes a crater the size of 1/8 of the Grand Canyon. If you don't know how long that is, you just look it up. And sends Deku flying. All of them were ordered to be killed. However, this was almost a mercy from All Might. After all of them would be knocked out and would be hunted out for the rest of the days. However, Deku was the only one with a survival quirk, one that would allow him to absorb the blast. In the wilderness, he finds himself hunted by multiple heroes. Having to survive, he had fought many of them. He had taken down almost 3 of them, top heroes even. One, called Aizawa. He had learned his name by torturing him out in the forest. Well, not torturing, but bending your body around and, well, generally being able to modify his own body, making different bones go into different sources that they don't want to. He experiments on himself, being able to dislodge his own hands and be able to, well, basically break any bone in his body whenever he wants to, replace different arms inside of his body, and be able to move around his face. Now he fixes his face a little bit. Just as his power increases, he will fix his face more. However, he is sliced into by Eraserhead's katana, which was thrown at him from many, many yards away. He takes out this katana and throws it up into the night sky, thinking that he had hit him. However, he accidentally hits Endeavor instead, right through his fireball, which had been sliced through. Absolute luck. As he gets a kick to the face when he's sent down into the ground, tumbling and thrown up against a wall. And who stops Aizawa from killing him? Red Riot, his favorite hero. The one who had shown him that you don't need a powerful quirk, you don't need a good quirk, you don't even need a quirk to become the strongest hero. He doesn't even have that good of a quirk. But Red Riot had saved his life. Standing in front of Aizawa, pleading that this boy is only a boy. Slicing into Endeavor's sternum was only a mistake. He was watching from far away. After all, this was one of their highest priority targets, after he was the only one that survived. As Red Riot turns around and Deku is gone, probably geeking out right next to the right behind the stump. However, being able to conceal his whole identity, and being able to release no sound, as both in Aizawa and Red Riot run throughout the forest. What they would never expect is for him to be in the same exact position behind the tree that they had just seen him at. Endeavor's rushed to the hospital, as Deku finds that katana, keeps it for safekeeping, starts hunting boar, finding himself being able to change the shape of other beings' body. He changes the boar's tusks to be the sides of it. Then he changes the tusks to be horns. Then he changes the tusks to be on its legs. Different stuff like that to see how it lives with it, how it evolves, how everything deals with, well, change. And he would have to change. He would have to deal with change as well. He changes his whole face to be of a meaner variety, making himself look much older. He actually also shifts around some of his organs in a more fashionable style, where if he was to be sliced into, his ribs would literally move down to protect his usually like a liver or something like that. That he can move around his ribs much better now. However, finally, one day, his brother finds him in the forest. His brother had become a hero, something that he had loved. However, Deku had already thrown his katana halfway into the side of him, as he launches himself right next to him, landing on the stump, and then realizing it's his brother, dressed up as, well, what he could only assume was an intimidation of Red Riot. My God. As then, Kirishima takes out the katana, is like, holy shit, that's a reunion and a half. And then Deku's like, I'm sorry, man. as then he just outright hugs his brother, as finally Kirishima had found, Deku again. Kirishima, thankful for this reunite, hugs his brother as hard as he can back. However, then is reminded about why he's here. Villains had hunted them down in the forest as they were, as he was, being hunted down by the Vanguard. He had become the diversion as everybody was to strike onto the Vanguard to try to get rid of them during the night. However, he had gotten lost in the forest, fighting off multiple villains. These ones were not to be fucked with. As he realizes that, their sort of cheers of excitement have attracted most of the Vanguard to their position. As their 3-day assault on the training place had taken many casualties, he was freaked out that his brother would become one of them. I will thank you guys for watching. It has gone overboard, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.